Clash Royale. Welcome everybody to the SSL Round of 8. We are getting further and further into this league, and boy do we have a couple of sick games tonight, Rapid.
Yeah, man, when I came into work and Brendan told me he wanted to take things further, I didn't know he was talking about the tournament. But now that we are here, we are going to talk about our starting matchups for tonight. If you guys stumbled home from work and you're having a hard day, well, you picked the right day to watch some StarCraft. We've got our first matchup of the night featuring the guy you saw sit down in that sick-ass chair earlier. It's going to be a battle between Dark and TY.
This is like a finals,
How does that happen?
This is a finals.
Round
in the
of
SSL, you were actually telling me before that the top 8 here in the round of 8 of SSL are the top 8 in WCS points Korea.
So these are
That's
literally
insanity.
the 8 best players in WCS right now. Somewhere there's probably some kid on an island who hasn't played StarCraft yet. Maybe he's better than they are, but as far as the points go, these are the best players. Big thanks to Reddit for those stats. And big thanks to everybody else for coming out and tuning in tonight for our totally sick matches. There you can see the Korean names of all of the players on your screens.
Let me quickly go through this. So we got Dark versus TY, and then we got Stats versus Classic later on tonight. So a couple of crazy games there. Then we got Solar versus Deer, and then Patience versus Zest for the second half. That will probably be next week. So I mean, GSL, we had some crazy games yesterday, of course, with Tasia. But here, this is the tournament actually with the best 8 players right now in Korea. And you're going to see 4 of them playing tonight.
That is very true. I like to call SSL the tournament Zest is still in.
Yes. Ooh.
And we'll be seeing...
Burn, Rapid.
We'll be seeing a little bit later on. Dark versus TY, of course, our first best of 5. And then Stats versus Classic. And yeah, all of today's games will be best of 5. Next round of SSL will actually be best of 7s on into the finals. So lots of StarCraft out there and some absolutely sick games.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You got a best of 5 tonight, a couple of them actually, as you were saying. It's really going to decide who is the better players coming in here, right? I mean, Dark versus TY, that's what they do. That's what competition is all about, right? That's why we're here playing this game.
I compete for the participation trophy, man.
Yeah, you just want to qualify. You just want to qualify, and then you're like, oh, okay, I did my job. Now I'm just going to cheese him and see what happens, you know? Kind of like Ryung yesterday against Zest. He's like, oh, let's see what happens. I'll just do this build, and it'll work.
What a build. Yeah, I went home and tried to make that work on ladder. It turns out it actually takes talent. So
yeah,
we're gonna be
funny how that is. We're
gonna be seeing some awesomely talented nerds, including for our first matchup, Dark, who is currently I think the #1 ranked player in the world.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. He's doing so well in individual leagues here in Korea. He probably has so many points. Of course, he did win the SSL for season 1.
I think that gives you like what 4,000 points, something crazy like that.
Something like that.
It's
I mean, he made it to the round of 8, I think, for GSL. Maybe the round of 16. I think
and it does look like that is going to send us into our, or at least our first upcoming match. Let's go ahead and start it off with an interview.
무조건 결승전을 갈 수 있을 거라고 생각을 했기 때문에 장강에서 떨어지고 굉장히 많이 아쉬웠고 스트레스를 많이 받았는데 그래서 더더욱 이번에 8강에서 좀 복수하고 싶은 마음이 큰 것 같아요.
그렇게 생각해 본 적이 없는데 그냥 테란 속도가 굉장히 빠른 것 같아요. 멀티태스킹적인 플레이를 굉장히 잘하는 것 같아요.
다른 저거와 다르게 약간 특색 있는 빌드를 잘 만들어가지고 오더라고요. 멘탈이 약한 것 같더라고요. 프로리그에서 경기 질 때마다 약간 머리를 감싸주는 모습이
원래 저는 제 경기 아니면 다 안 봐서 자세히 보진 않아서 잘 모르겠네요.
자기가 항상 최고라는 생각을 가지고 있는 선수인 것 같아서 그런 부분을 좀 이번에 제가 깨주고 싶어요.
태양은 언제나 지기 마련이죠. 이번 시즌 목표는 당연히 양대 우승이 목표고요. 그걸 위해서 정말 죽어라 연습하고 있으니까 많은 응원 부탁드립니다.
일단 스타리그 최종 우승이 제 목표고요. 이번 8강을 정말 열심히 준비하겠습니다.
So there you have it. This is apparently the Telecom War Chapter 3. We're going to have Chapter 4 right after this, as we are going to jump into Stats versus Classic, another KT versus SKT matchup.
That's right. Apparently this is the summit. Coming in here.
Apparently, man, I don't know.
Blizzard
Nobody
just had
told
one
me.
of those.
We found out today.
This is another summit here. Chapter 3 of the Telecom War, of course, two Korean organizations that have faced off many, many times in just about every esport. And of course, starting things out, SK Telecom with not a good season this season in Pro League. But when it comes to Star League or just individual leagues, they are still doing pretty well. Of course, so are KT, guys that came in second in Pro League.
Yeah, these guys are doing very well after all, and TY is part of the reason. Him, Zess, and Stats have really been carrying that team all together. And as I said before, we are going to be seeing two of these guys tonight. TY going up against Dark. Always has been quite good in TVZ. If I had to push it one way, these guys are both finalists, right, of the individual leagues we had here for Season 1. Dark did win. TY lost to his teammate Zest. I would have to, though, slightly give favor to TY right now. I feel like he's really on point. Dark has kind of been shaky, especially in Pro League. I think if I had to predict, this is going to go 3-1 for TY.
You know, it's a very valid prediction just because these players are so strong. It can be hard to predict. There are actually two conflicting stats coming into tonight's games. TY has a 75 or almost 75% win rate versus Zerg. But Dark has actually never lost to TY ever. He's beat him the last 3 times that they faced off. So that's anytime a commentator says, well, this could go either way, I'm like, well, yeah, but tell us why. So that's why both of these guys actually literal gods, Brendan.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true. They're both finalists, as I was saying before. Dark, though, the only champion here. TY has yet to win an individual league. Is the SSL going to be his first championship? He's got to get through a champion right now tonight. The first map is going to be Frozen Temple for Dark versus TY, this TVZ. And I want you guys to really just cherish this moment. We don't have a lot of Zergs here in Korea right now doing well. Let's see if Dark can keep the Zerg hope alive here against TY.
They'll never catch me. They'll never catch me.
Here we are on Frozen Temple for match 1, set 1 of the round of 8. And down here in the bottom right, the Zerg player from SK Telecom, it is Dark. It says Dark fighting.
And here in the upper left, in the blue, this is going to be our Terran player tonight, TY. I'm glad that we're interspersing the fan comments coming in here. This is definitely something new that we've added for the round of 8.
I think that says we're getting a look at the playoffs, probably referring to Pro League, because we're getting a look right now at a preview. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. A preview of what could happen here in the playoffs. And I mean, it makes sense. SKT right now, they're going to have to face Afrika first for that first week of the Grand Postseason of Pro League. But if they get through them, they are going to have to play up against KT in that second match.
That is true. And it's just so awesome watching so many teams who have come together with great players, great individual players in this individual league. But I mean, when it comes to Pro League, something's going on with SKT, and we'll see if that has maybe gotten the better of Dark as he comes in here to face TY, a guy that came out with super sick play and really ascended to the upper echelons of Terrans in Korea, and then all of a sudden started to struggle a little bit and kind of let Maru overtake that throne of Terran Emperor. Well, now we get a chance to see how he faces off against Dark, and one of the things that's going to make this matchup maybe a little bit more difficult for TY, of course, the Queen buff coming in always makes it a little bit more of a struggle for early drops, and that has been one of the strats that TY has been looking for. So we'll see if that impacts his early strategies here. He's going to catch an early Overlord out on the map.
Yeah, I was going to comment. He actually went for Rax into CC, no gas, expand. So he is going to go for 2 Marines, and Dark was not expecting this, did not have that Overlord in a safe place. So TY off to a good start here. Dark also going for a pool first, so very safe play out of Dark.
This is actually a lot of early Zergling production. Well, not a lot, but he does have them out from that pool first. And will he be able to catch this SCV building the command center? He can if he goes in for it. That would actually be a cheeky little snipe if he was able to stop that or delay the build time. But either way, just has 6 to start to apply a little bit of early, not soft contain, but just scouting things out.
Just a little bit of pressure. We'll see what he can get done here. Is that depot going to be raised here? It is just at the last second. Dark actually went in before the speed was done.
Oh, some nice Hellion hits are going to come off here, wasting those early Zerglings. 3 lucky to get alive right as speed finishes.
I would love to see those lings. We just barely got to see the tail of one of them. It looks like 3 of them did go down. And so Dark taking a little bit of damage. The Korean commentators going nuts over that little bit of damage.
Oh my God, Brendan, 3 Zerglings almost died. And then you realize it's just 3 Zerglings. But either way, exciting nonetheless. Once my Korean gets good enough, I'm actually just going to cast this exactly word for word from the Korean commentary. And you guys will have no idea what I'm saying, but the big secret is that you actually just act like everything is the biggest, most exciting thing in the world. And while exciting, may not be the most accurate representation of what's going on. Overlord speed finishing, allowing some scouts in there as well.
Yeah, he actually scouts the cloak there on the Banshees. So TY really mixing it up with this kind of build. Don't see this too often against Zerg.
No way, man. He's fake upgrading Medivac boost.
Yeah, man, imagine. That would be sick. But we are going to have this drop coming in now. 2 Widow Mines coming in, trying to get this around right away. He pulls his his drones here, but the 2 Widow Mines do burrow and get a couple of nice shots here. 5 drones in damage.
Well, he's going to lose both of those Widow Mines thanks to that finishing Spore Colony, but just nice timing there from TY to hit right before that Spore finished up, and even those extra range Queens are not able to stop that. Usually you actually see the Widow Mines split between either 2 bases or a little bit further apart, but nice harassment early on as they do get cleaned up. Well, here come the Hellions. They're not going to find anything.
TY, I think he's going mech right now. There are no infantry upgrades. The barracks has no add-on, and he's making an armory rather super early on here. If he's not going mech, he's going for just some kind of 2-base mech push here, it looks like, with the Banshees and a bunch of Hellbats, perhaps. But either way, he is going to have a lot of pressure early on.
Well, and Dark's just finishing a huge round of drones here, so there's not a lot of army larvae out there. You can see some spores coming out, and here come the Zerglings, but those are not going to work versus these Hellbats being morphed inside his base. Lots of Queens here to defend, so this actually shouldn't be incredibly impactful. Nice job by Dark here to use those early Queens to clean it up.
The Medivac actually gets sniped here, and everything in the main gets cleaned up, even though he's doing a bit of damage here at the 3rd base, forcing a big pull. He's not going to be able to kill any of those drones here, and as long as Dark can get those Queens down to defend, I love the style he's going for with the heavy Queen play here. He should be okay. Needs that Overseer to come over and help out, help deal with the Banshees here on the right, and that he will, but also needs to deal with these Hellbats at his 3rd.
There's a huge ball of drones there right behind the hatchery. I'm not sure why the Hellions are trying to, or the Hellbats rather, are trying to go over there and take that out. Wow, that range is insane! But now we actually do have a lot of movement up here. If you don't micro those Queens to transfuse, you might lose a few of them, but instead being lost to the Hellbats, this entire push is getting cleaned up.
Yeah, you know what? This really didn't work out the way that Dark was expecting it, or rather TY was expecting it to work out here. He shuts it down hardcore, Dark does, with a very heavy Queen play with the Lings. And now TY is, in fact, transitioning into bio here. He's made 2 engineering bays, going to start that barracks production and the infantry upgrades, but it's so late because of the build that he went for, and Dark already is getting an infestation pit, so he's totally fine. He can even take a 4th base at this point. It looks like he's going to do that now.
He's also got 30 SCVs at his natural, waiting for this 3rd to come up there, so I don't care if you have numbers or not, you can still tell that's oversaturated. Might want to transfer them, but you can't, because now, while TY is changing tech, there's the only tech you need is a Zerg player. Zerglings out there on the map to try to disrupt this third from coming up.
Yeah, he actually could have sniped that SCV, but I guess he didn't want to lose any of those lings. Either way, he is going to save all of them. And look at all the upgrades Dark is going for here. He did get that 4th base, but he's also getting a Hive, a Baneling Nest, 1-1, and Burrow.
And this is really the point you don't want the Zerg to get to, where he feels zero pressure, he can expand, he can get whatever tech that he wants. He's just not having to deal with anything that TY is sending his way. Even these Banshees, early Cloak, early Aggression, early Armory, which is also still a little bit questionable, because it's like, well, you're going to build the Armory, but then you're just not going to use it really at all. Like, he has some Hellions that are going to be transformable, but I don't know. We'll see how well this transition works as Dark breaks down those rocks in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, it essentially was for that push, and the push got shut down so hard by the very defensive build that Dark did that TY definitely not in a very fun place right now in a TVZ. He's going to try to put on some pressure now at the 4th base. Still has those Banshees available. You see all the upgrades lining up too. The Stim, Combat Shields, and 1-1 for that bio. But Dark isn't even going to fight it at this point. He's going to go for a counterattack at that 3rd.
This is going to allow TY to get into a decent position. He will deny this 3rd with a bunch of Zerglings on the run by. Huge hits there in the back though, and that'll stop a lot. Look at those Hellbats up in the front taking so many Baneling hits. And ultimately, those Banelings will go down. Medevacs used to pick up those straggling Marines, but you have to be careful. Now here we do see the great positioning there on that Liberator, pushed back by a Spine Crawler or a Spore Crawler. If I could push Liberators back with Spine Crawlers, I wouldn't need to build any of those. But either way, 3rd is reclaimed here for TY. He does take that base back.
Dude, Dark is looking so good today. I actually may have called this wrong. Like, he is just styling all over TY today. We'll see if TY can try to come back in this game. He is going to try to snipe that 5th base, and he should be successful. No defending units over there. At the same time, he is trying to float over to this 4th base. He has made that 4th command center.
Oh, Drop Overlords perfectly scouted. Beautiful Star Sense there from TY to stop that from getting into his base, but huge flood of lings across the map running up to what should be that 4th. Because it was an orbital floated over there, then it is going to be a little bit more difficult to defend. It's not a planetary or anything, but once again, great positioning by TY.
Yeah, let's see what he decides to morph this into. It looks like, yeah, you are correct. He is going for that orbital there at the 4th, so kind of an interesting choice. We do see burrowed Banelings now in an interesting path. We'll see if Dark can try to bait over there.
Burrowed Widow Mines as well. Nice scan goes down in the middle as not necessarily a push, just cleaning up some of that creep out on the map. Will that be enough to pull this force of Zerglings back? And it looks like it is.
That it is, and I love the fact that Dark made like the perfect amount of queens too. We've seen Zerg players really trying to go for this kind of style with the Ling Queen to defend early pushes now from a lot of different races, and it's really working out here.
Wow, beautiful kiting back. Needs to target that Baneling. Picks up instead. Could have been big, but even still, kind of interesting to see such a non-interactive game after that push failed. Oh man.
He's got to reposition those Banelings now. Maybe he will.
Those are the late game Banelings when you're like, I am so sure my opponent doesn't have anything over here, but here come these Ultras. They do not have Chitinous plating completed at all. Unfortunately, much like Marauders, Ultralisks do not shoot up, so they will not be able to take down those Medevacs.
Yeah, and that's got to be a scary sight for TY to see. He's like, oh, you already have Ultras right now, and Chitinous plating did just finish.
Okay, now, Liberators, the one thing that can signal freedom for the Terran from the Ultralisk, get a nice position here between the mineral lines, and actually do start to pressure this. Huge Banelings coming in. You don't want to fight underneath those Liberators.
Yeah, it's really hard for Dark to actually deal with this kind of drop because he just can't mine. He can't get enough queens over there to deal with the Liberators. The Ultras here are going to tank the Widow Mines and allow the Lings to come in, but there is already defense ready for TY. Is it going to be enough, though?
Yeah, the Chitinous plating completed means these Ultralisks are actually so strong as long as they don't walk into those liberation zones. Need to burrow those mines there and start to try to defend this upcoming push into the main. But the Zerglings starting to maraud everything everything that TY has. Liberator's not enough freedom here for him to defend, and all of the
Look at this.
natural SCVs
Look at the
going down.
SCVs.
No! 34!
This is unbelievable. Dark is playing this like a god. He's like, yeah, you want to push my bases? I don't care. I'll just kill your entire economy in one fell swoop.
But Brendan, why aren't those Marines attacking in the middle? Oh wait, they're changelings. There we go.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, the changelings aren't fighting for the right to. Oh wait, yes they are.
Yep.
Either way, Ultras are good units, man. Big Moo Cow's out on Frozen Temple.
Yeah, dude. Thanius is watching this game right now, and he's facepalming. He's like, oh god, this looks like a lot of my ladder games. These ultras just wrecking face right now. As TY, it looks like he actually might have lost that natural, and he's not mining from his third or his fourth right now. He's desperately trying to get that up and running, but Dark is totally fine. He's like, yeah, I lost my fifth a couple of times. I don't really care. I just killed you anyway.
Oh yeah, and he's just back up macroing back at home. If Dark had a favorite cookie, it would be a macro rune.
Whoa, Rapid.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Dark gets home from school every day. He walks into his fridge. He's like, I need a snack to eat. And he makes himself some macaroni and cheese, man.
Whoa.
He is making so many units all the way up at max, and the poor Terran can't even build anything else because he's been so heavily supply blocked.
Yeah, and look at this. Dark bringing in some of his style, using the Corruptors. GG.
GG, that is it. Dark stomping down on TY. That is going to do it for our first game of the night, man. If you are a Terran player out there, you should really hate Dark for being so good, but you should actually just really hate Rogue for making that strat that he used there so incredibly well. He massed Queens, and then they're strong early game, and then you use the Queens to heal up the Ultras later on, and they actually just don't die like 3 times less than they actually do.
It's a really strong build. It's very fun, and Dark is keeping the Zerg hope alive.
Not very fun if you're Terran, man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, TY, we tout him as one of the best Terrans, if not the best Terran, but Dark made him look kind of silly. Of course, a lot of it came down to the build that TY did in that game. He committed so much to the Hellbat Banshee push, but it got shut down so hard that I don't think we're going to see that ever again in this series, at least.
Oh, that's the problem.
Or maybe ever again, ever.
I mean, it's a good idea behind the push, but beautiful splitting, like you mentioned. Dark just with the perfect number of queens everywhere he needed them.
Yeah.
I live in a world where there's only one queen, and that's actually no. There's many queens. I take that back. I was thinking about the band, and I was like, wait, no, that's the name of a monarch. So if you guys are watching from Great Britain, I apologize.